Hi there, it's me again, Joseph Carabas, still chuckling at the little Zoom lady. We're listening to Marshall Crenshaw. I don't know if he's still performing, but when he was a powerhouse, um, gifted musician. Not everybody who gets to that level of fame is a gifted musician. He is a gifted musician. Um, and a great lyricist and songwriter. So I recommend you look him up, get a couple of his songs and listen, see what you think. I want to talk about exercises. Actually, I have several things I want to talk about, but we're going to talk about exercises right now. The reason we're going to talk about exercises is twofold. Twofold. One on each hand. Fourfold? No, twofold. Some people have asked me for exercises. I've talked about exercises in the past. They're talking about them again. They wanted examples. Okay, that's easy enough to do. We can give you examples. I know how to do examples. So for me, one of the things I do to spark creativity, because some days, let's face it, I get up and just give me a cup of coffee and leave me alone. But as Stephen King once said, there are people who sit around waiting for inspiration. The rest of us just sit down and get to work. Inspiration is wonderful. And to be very honest and clear about you, there are people who can train themselves to be inspired. I work at that still. There are periods where I just can't shut it off. The Muse is screaming at me, singing at me. I don't know she would scream unless she was a punk rocker, and I don't like punk rock or acid rock, just me. What does your muse look like, by the way? I can tell you what my muse looks like, depending on what we're discussing, what she's encouraging, and it's a female, so there. Too much Greek mythology influence, perhaps. Exercises to get myself going. There are also things that I do when I'm at a point in the story where I want to put in a metaphor or a simile, where I want to be evocative, where I want to have the reader have a strong emotional reaction or aspantic, I guess I would call it, response to something I'm writing, where they're just pulled in by the magic of the words without being kicked out because the words are too magical. So hang on a second, I'm going to shift windows. Where are we? Over here. One of the things I do, for those of you who are familiar with my writing, and why aren't you if you're not, is I use alliteration quite a bit. I like it. I think it's a wonderful tool. So I gave myself an exercise of coming up with highly alliterative similes and metaphors. For example, as silent as spider silk in a breeze. As silent as spider silk in a breeze. Number one, can you imagine hearing spider silk in a breeze? That'd be one big spider and thick webbing. So, okay, and a strong breeze. So as silent as spider silk in a breeze. The next one, I'm really not trying to be political. As loud as a Donald Trump whisper. That's not alliterative, but it is two opposites to each other. I've never heard Donald Trump talk in a whisper. So as loud as a Donald Trump whisper, loud whisper. As bright as a flash bulb at midnight. as dark as the ocean depths. Kind of cliche. As salty as sweat on a hot summer's day. Obviously, I'm back to alliteration. Notice also one of the things I'm doing, though, is I'm giving a lot of sensory information. That's as silent as loud as bright as dark as salty as. So with my metaphors and similes, I want to be sensory. I want to give the reader some kind of experience that they feel. They literally have a sensation of. As satisfying as ice cream melting on your tongue. A little bit long, but you get the idea. As sweet as kisses from a week-old pup. If you're a dog lover, you got to know that one. As tender as freshly twined silk. I don't know if you're familiar with silk, raw silk, but that's, as ugly as spider lips. Now, you probably know, let me just check to see if you can actually see it. Yes, you'll notice over there, I'm a fan of spiders. I'm an arachnophile. So, but as ugly as spider lips, because let's face it, spider lips, you may not want to kiss them. As soft as the surface of a mountain lake, as soft as the breath after a kiss, as sour as bile after a good meal. Not one of my best, but it worked. As orchestrated as a military march into a conquered country. If you've ever seen those amazing World War II movies where, the US or some major company was really on top of it all, heroic, yeah, as triumphant, as orchestrated as a military march into a conquered country. You're not seeing those nowadays. As violent as a star's collapse, as startling as an unexpected explosion, as beautiful as a Bach toccata, as intricate as a Bach prelude, as involved as a Godel math proof, with the potential of a steaming volcano, as hot as the bottom of a fresh coffee pot, as terrifying as a bomb in a madman's grasp. So there's 21 metaphors and similes. Technically, they're not metaphors. Anyway, the term applies. And I said, anyway, I'm so sorry. But I caught it. The thing is, when I do these, one of the things I find out about myself, and I recognize that I must be also doing in my writing, is I'm showing myself where my go-to is, where my predilections are. What are my fallbacks? I'm not really expanding, if you will, my abilities. I'm going to places that I know. Spider, midnight ocean depths, hot summer days, ice cream, puppy. Notice how many times I put spiders in there, kissing, Bach, earthquakes, earth events, coffee pots. So do these types of things to find out where your comfort zones are, and then kind of see if you can change the boundaries on your comfort zones. For example, if I was to do this exercise again, I would work hard to not use those types of metaphors, those types of events, those types of experiences. Sour is a bad decision on an empty stomach. Sour is a bad decision on a cold gray morning. I'm going back to nature, kind of. That's an example of one of the types of exercises I do. I give myself. Um, Feel free to use it. Remember that the purpose of an exercise is to expand your ability. When you're doing weightlifting or any kind of exercise, physical exercise, the goal is to push yourself so you can do a little bit more. At least that's what I was always taught. If you're able to do lift 10 pounds, go to 11 pounds, go to 12 pounds. When you go to 12 pounds, you can do 12 pounds, go to 13, go to 14, go to 15. Keep on growing. Even as you get older, you can still do these kinds of things. Be aware of where you want to go. Catch yourself. If you need to get that out, need to get it down, get it out of the way, good. But then go back and revisit it. For example, in the ones that I listed, back. So that was one kind of exercise. This other exercise is more active in the sense that the previous one, similes and metaphors, I could sit down and do it here. Now I want to share an exercise I do to, again, expand myself, to increase my vocabulary, my vernacular, but also to train myself to be more aware of what's going on around me. Let me give you some examples. I will go somewhere, sit, and make a list of everything that I see. Because I'm old school, I actually do this on a notebook with pen and paper. You may do it on your phone, and that's your choice. That's not how I do it because I can't go up and down on an audio file the way I can on a notebook. So go somewhere, sit, and make a list of everything you see. Okay? Now, close your eyes for a minute, a full minute. Open your eyes, make a list of what you didn't write down or say into your phone or whatever. Make a list of what you didn't see, of what you missed. How come? Ask yourself, how come I didn't see that? How come I didn't pay attention to that? Question yourself. Was it, for example, somebody you didn't like the look of? Was something going on that you didn't appreciate, you didn't have energy with? That's all useful information because it indicates where your limits are, where your boundaries are. And to me, a large part of being an author is breaking through my own boundaries, giving myself the freedom to go where I've never gone before and be comfortable that I can come back if I have to. Another exercise, that was a visual exercise. Now we're going to do an auditory one. I will go somewhere and I will close my eyes and I will listen. Essentially, let's say I'm in the mall, I'm in like the food court of the mall. This is where I often do it. I will sit down and I will listen to what's going on in the tables right around me. May seem like I'm eavesdropping, so be it. What I'm listening for is interesting snatches of conversation, interesting phrasings, interesting ways people put words together, because they indicate an awful lot about the individual. So I will do that, and then I will go one set of tables out. So essentially, I'm dulling the first circle, if you will, of auditory experience, and I'm expanding. And then I'm expanding again, and then I'm expanding again. Orchestra conductors, and actually anybody who's really high level in music, they have the ability to, for example, isolate one instrument out of an orchestra. So out of a 108-piece orchestra, they can isolate one violin. and know that violinist is not playing correctly or is slightly out of tune. They can appreciate that the timpani is not quite coming in the right way. They can hear that the oboes or an oboe, and that's the ability to isolate. If you are primarily an auditory learner, you have an advantage. So that's another exercise. You've got 3 exercises now: similes, metaphors, visual. What did you see? What did you miss? And auditory. Pay attention to what you hear in expanding circles. How come you heard it there, but not sooner, not earlier? What was there about it? And give your characters these same abilities. Have them use these same metaphors. It has enriched my writing. I hope it'll enrich yours. And we're going to quit now. Bye.